YouTube now, and I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. Hope you're all doing well wherever you are, and I have all these plans in my mind, so I'm stressing about getting all these ideas done, and whether I forget things or whatever. I'm trying to enjoy my plans. It'll be interesting to see what Celtic can achieve, hopefully, Celtic and Asia together, hopefully, in the future. Hopefully both will benefit. I hope Asian economies will grow, nations will get into football, and I hope Celtic will continue to win trophies and benefit together, I'd say, and Italian football as well. As I said in part one, I think normally I would do it in the opposite order. I'd normally do Italian football with Celtic, and then with Asia, and then Celtic the week later or whatever. But I thought I'd do it in the opposite order because I thought this silly thing like Freaky Fridays, even though I'm not watching the film, for those who have heard that one, and also because Celtic are playing tomorrow, the last game of the season, so hopefully we can win a double. I mean, a bit disappointed that it's not a treble that we're going for, but 2 out of 3 ain't too bad, as the song says. Don't be sad, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But anyway, these are pointers number 31 to 40, and as per usual, I thought what I'd do is I'd talk about what I hope to achieve in the future, in the next 5 to 10 years, in this case with this partnership between Asian nations and communities and Celtic FC. So here goes. So number 31, I dream that, again, both will mutually benefit, learn from each other, develop together. Asians will invest into and sponsor, maybe even donate to, and follow and support, support, supports clubs, academies and whatnot, fan clubs and that kind of thing. Sports/fan clubs, whatever you want to call them. And basically as many Asian fans as possible around the world, including Asia itself, across Asia itself. I suppose it'd be quite fitting given Celtic's anti-imperial roots. Hopefully Celtic will do a lot of charitable work as well, given its charitable roots as well, for Asians in Asia and around the world. And also, something else I was going to say, I completely forgot. I hope they'll mutually benefit, and it's really not what I was going to say. But yeah, I think on that note, I'm going to move on to, point number 2. Point number 32, I dream that Italian football and Celtic together will help more Asians to get into football, playing football, learning about football, getting involved in coaching, managing, being directors of football, and doing as well as they can in football. I don't think players should be picked because of their background. I don't think they should be, as I said earlier, in part 1 or 2, I can't remember which one, one of those. I don't think they should be picked because they're black or Asian or mixed race or whatever. I think it should be, sorry, it's really itchy. I think it should be because they are the best people for the job. I guess for this one, I have realised that I'm really talking about what I talked about in parts 1, 2, and 3 as I normally do. But yeah, in the future, hopefully these things will be put into practice, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So as I say, I hope that in the future there will be many great Asian players, and I hope Celtic, along with Italian football, will be amongst the first clubs, if not the first club, also one of the first clubs to help to it's really annoying. My knee is so itchy. To facilitate such. I think my body always feels cold, and my back always feels cold, but when it's warm, my body gets itchy because it's a lot warmer than I think it is, or whatever, if that makes sense. But anyway, sorry, back to the topic at hand. So yeah, I hope that Italian teams and Celtic, even working together, can and will in the future get more Asians into football, maybe working with FIFA or even UEFA or even Asian football organisations, similar with Africa, but obviously, I'll say this month, along with as I was in April, and I'm hoping to do so in June, I hope to focus more on Asia and Asian empowerment. So I again hope it'll be a mutual benefit, and they'll learn as much as possible from each other, and they'll help each other to improve as much as possible. So helping Asians to improve in football and helping their economies and helping Celtic in football and that kind of thing as well, mutually. So as I say, number 33, I hope to put into practice what I talked about in the first 3 parts obviously before this one. So helping more, so Asian companies, organisations, and whatnot. So the Asian Development Bank, Toyota, Tata, Alibaba, and even Asian governments, as well as NGOs and whatnot, charities and whatnot, as well as governments, businesses, organisations, associations, and whatnot, from Asia itself and from the diaspora, as they think of it, diaspora, how we pronounce it, will all come together and have more academies and sports clubs. Again, hopefully that will help more Asians as well to learn about football, get into coaching and that kind of thing, and hopefully benefit the club, just like Maeda has done. Maeda and Yang have done this season, and in the past, like Rio Hatate, who's not playing so well at the moment, I don't think, but from what I've seen. But hopefully he'll step up, and Kyogo used to play for us as well, and Nakamura and people like that have benefited the club in the past. Hopefully they'll do so in the future, and I hope, more to develop, not just from Japan, but also from China, Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and basically all of Asia. Maybe the club could work with FIFA, the FIFA Foundation, the UEFA Foundation, and organisations like that, charities, NGOs, and whatnot, to say the people who make the footballs in places like Pakistan would be welcomed to, supported to play football as well, to get to play football. Which reminds me of something where the people who help to produce chocolate in Africa, parts of Africa, got the chance. I think it's the Ivory Coast. In the Ivory Coast, they got a chance to try chocolate for the first time. But it's quite a shame that if people help to stitch footballs together, make footballs, and then they don't get the chance to play. But yeah, get more children and people into football across Asia, which would benefit FIFA, benefit football generally, and obviously those who run football, as well as hopefully the people themselves. And again, I hope they can benefit Asian economies as well, all being well. And as I said before, places and spaces for playing and practicing football. Number 34, I sometimes put that in the opposite order, so like spaces and places for playing soccer, if you want it, or whatever you want to call it. And maybe the club could also help funding with sports generally in Asia. I'd love for Celtic, people involved in Celtic to play and practice football as much as possible to develop the game, and hopefully produce many great players, even in Italy itself, and Glasgow itself, even in Italy, in Glasgow itself, across Scotland, across the UK, across Europe, and around the world, and especially in Asia. Well, maybe not necessarily especially, but also in Asia, around and across Asia. So yeah, having those places and spaces for playing and practicing, or spaces and places for sport, or whatever you want to call it. Again, mainly football or soccer, or whatever you want to call it nowadays. Mainly, sorry, but also maybe again other sports as well. And again, I hope that Tata, Toyota, Reliance Industries, the Asian Development Bank, Asian businesses generally, young people in Asia, and people of all ages and backgrounds in Asia would benefit as well, all being well, ideally. Number 35. So yeah, hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, I hope that will happen. I have to worry when I make these videos. I know it's a first world problem, I guess you could say, but I'd really love to put my ideas into action. So if anyone has any suggestions, listening to this mad guy here, myself in the third person, on how I could promote these ideas to the club, to Celtic, and to people across Asia as well, to organisations across Asia and from the diaspora, I really love to read it in the comments, and I hope you'll share these videos and get involved in the discussion. Maybe make your own versions of these videos in more coherent form than me, which is not saying much, but maybe even write letters yourself, because I struggle to communicate as well as I like, and put forward those ideas and see how we could put them into action together, those who support this goal. But yeah, so hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, basically ASAP really. I say 5 to 10 year plans, but normally I don't have a specific timeline, or I'm not very good at saying specifically by a certain time. I'm not the most patient either, so I want it done yesterday, so to speak, yesteryear, or whatever. I want it done yesteryear, or whatever. But yeah, ASAP, I guess, but within the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully. The number 35 might have that kind of. Hopefully that will be achieved, and hopefully be a work in progress. And maybe the club could have 5 to 10 year plans on expanding the club as a brand. As well. After all, they say football is a business. Expanding the brand, if you like, the club or whatever you want to call it. Expanding Celtic, as I say, as a brand across Asia, and again helping Asian brands, helping Asian businesses, and Asian empowerment, and that kind of thing. Hopefully, number 36. Um, Again, just like I said in part one, having a partnership with Italian football, and also with, as I say, with FIFA, maybe UEFA, um, Asian football federations, and things like that. So to host cups, especially at youth level and that kind of thing, cups, tourneys, as I call them, tournaments, leagues, and that kind of thing, competitions basically between Celts, Celtic sports in this case, Celtic fans and Asians, which hopefully will help them to practice, especially at youth level. Hopefully, it'll be again a mutual benefit. And again with Italian football. So hopefully, Italian football. Ideally, I'd love for Italian football, Celtic FC, Asian businesses, and even Asian football to an extent, to a lesser extent, um, in that order of importance. Like Italian football, most importantly, Celtic slightly below them, but almost as importantly. Slightly less importantly, but almost as importantly, I would say. And Asian businesses, well, probably equally so actually. And Asian football, not quite as much, but I hope they'll still benefit. I hope that makes sense with my quirkiness. But yeah, I hope those will all benefit, and hopefully have a lot of fun, spread the joy of football, fun and the passion, that kind of thing. Which football can be a great way to bring people together, have something to do, keep them out of trouble, hopefully discouraging football hooliganism perhaps and things like that, for instance, and discouraging crime generally and criminality through football. Again, working with FIFA, UEFA, whatever Asian football federations are called, probably the AFF, Asian Football Federation, or whatever it might be called, and that kind of thing. The FIGC, the Italian FA, and Serie A, Coppa Italian, Super Cup. Maybe the Coppa Italia and the Super Cup, or even Serie A games could be played across Asia as well. I'm not sure, but moving on, I know they're played in Saudi, but they could be played in Asia as well. And again, at youth development, maybe Celtic could be invited to Saudi, Dubai, the UAE, and wherever else, as long as hopefully it's safe to do so. Number 37. Again, hopefully more young people, especially. I mean, it could even be Asians, people of Indian, Chinese, Pakistani, Sri Lankan, or whatever descent in Glasgow itself and across Scotland and across the UK, as well as those in Asia. Yeah, to play football, especially at youth level. It'd be hard to imagine, but maybe in the future there could be players who originate from Sri Lanka who play Celtic. Again, as long as they're the best for the job, I don't think they should be picked because they're Asian or any sort of diversity quotes. I think it should be like, wow, this player is from Sri Lanka or India or Pakistan or whatever, Bangladesh or whatever, and he's a really good player. Whereas I think if they're not good players, I think the fans should say, no, we need to pick the best player for the role. So I don't think it should be through quotas. I think it's about developing players from a young age. I'm sure with the right support, right diets and fitness and training and that kind of thing, Asian players hopefully can come through and be really good players. I'm sure it's not really like genetic. I'm sure there's some really good Asian players that need to be given opportunities, perhaps, maybe. And we've seen some of the players of Japanese descent who have played really well. I know people might say it's not football, it's not the highest level, but yeah, they're still playing well for us. I realise I'm half an hour late already, so later than planned. But moving on that note, number 38, as I hope they can develop passion and play together. Number 39, I hope they'll continue to practice and improve together. So as an ongoing process. So work is never done. There's always something more to work on. Working smart, hard, or whatever it takes. There's always things that could be improved, I'm sure. So continuing to develop those academies, obviously those would be, hopefully they'll be there for good. In more ways than one, forever, good or whatever, so to speak. So yeah, hopefully they'll continue to develop, basically, to put it simply, improving diets, improving fitness, and just generally improving as much as possible. And again, hopefully Asian businesses will benefit as well as Asian football and Celtic and Italian football as well. And number 40, it'd be be amazing to see what could be achieved, I think, hopefully. And on that note, I'm